And now, here's your host of Shaping Success, Wes Tankersley.
What is up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Shaping Success. I'm your host, Wes Tankersley. Today we have an awesome guest. Before I get to her, can you please do me a favor? If you're watching this on YouTube, if you're listening to this on the podcast, hit that subscribe button, ring that bell, make sure that you know that every episode is where it is at. If you're looking for an awesome shirt like I got here, some stickers, anything that are Shaping Success merchandise, hit me up, let me know, let me get that for you. Today we have an awesome guest, a friend of mine. And back in the beginning or middle or wherever of last year, my son was born in January, and this is kind of how we met. We met on TikTok, and we were trying to find some formula because there was a shortage. And my friend AJ, who is going to be on here in a second, helped me out and got me some formula from Canada. She's from Nova Scotia. She just got done with that raging bitch Hurricane Fiona, and now she's here. AJ, what's happening?
Hi.
It is AJ Fougere. Fougere? God dang it, I said it wrong, didn't I? Did I say it right? All right, good. All right. Perfect. I try to pronounce the G. So Nova Scotia is kind of like the French part of Canada, right? There's like the eastern side is more of the French part, correct?
No, Quebec would be the province. Quebec and New Brunswick have more French. We only have, I think, in Nova Scotia, I think it's like 8%, 10% of the population. It's not a large population of French, but there's like little areas. And I'm part of a little area. You're
part of that pocket. So when people talk to you, they don't really know this because you speak really good English, but English is your second language, right?
It is, yeah. I have perfected the English language. Well, except certain words. But you have
like
to think
what?
Too.
Can you tell me how you contribute to society?
No, I can't because I contribute to society. But for me, growing up in Nova Scotia, so you're surrounded by English, like the TV's in English, the radio's in English. So you kind of didn't have a choice to learn, even though I speak French at home with my parents. It doesn't matter. You had to learn both.
So do your parents know English? I mean, because they're a little bit older, right? I'm just wondering if it was like a new thing where you had to learn both, or was that something that's basically you learn both?
My mom dad is not as great in English. He can converse. My grandparents were not good at English. So it's like a new thing, I guess, is probably the best way to describe it. But
yeah.
To survive in Nova Scotia for the most part. So
yeah, and that's pretty interesting. It's kind of crazy. Like here we don't, obviously we speak English. That's pretty much it. They tried to get us to learn a second language in high school. Like we'd had to take classes and things like that. I know some cuss words in Spanish, and that's pretty much it. Other than that, I can't really converse that way. So it's kind of cool. So your job, you've talked about this, and we're not going to talk about your job, but we're just kind of talk about what you do. You work for the IRS equivalent in Canada. And you have talked about how you are one of the only bilingual persons are you the only bilingual person in your office, right?
As far as I know, unless they hired more people since because we've been working from home now since COVID. So I'm not sure what the situation is in the office anymore. But I was the only one. So I would do all of the jobs. It was great.
Yeah. And we'll talk a little bit about like whatever you can't talk about. You just say, can't talk about it. That's okay. Because I want to ask you some questions about it, but
classified.
It's classified. It's classified information. It's top secret information. It's kind of like working for the military in Nova Scotia, apparently. But essentially like you said, so you have to do other jobs. You don't just do your job. So like if they need a call talking and someone calls in French and they need a translator, it's AJ to the rescue. Yeah.
Yep. Pretty much. Which is fine. I don't mind talking to people, as I'm sure you found out over the last few months.
So one thing that's funny about you is we have these conversations on a daily basis, and we listen to AJ, and when AJ gets a little coffee in her, she gets a little excited. And I don't know how she's holding it back right now, but she's doing a pretty good job. Let's just say that.
Yep. I had one about 4 hours ago, so now maybe the crash a little bit more than the high, but yeah. Caffeine and AJ don't work well together.
Or do they?
Well, depends on who you are, I guess.
Yeah.
My husband probably say no.
Right. So tell us a little bit about kind of growing up in Nova Scotia, what it's like. I mean, I know you've been to the US. What are some of the differences you think that you've kind of observed? I mean, obviously you don't live here, so you do see some things here and there, but what were kind of some of the differences?
Well, I think growing up, I'm from a very small town, so population maybe 1,200, maybe 2,000. I don't think there's very much more than that. Yeah, I have traveled to the States. Biggest difference is the city sizes are humongous. Where I live now is actually the second largest municipality in Nova Scotia, but where I grew up, it was definitely a lot smaller. So that was an adjustment. But going to the States, you just see, I guess, just the size of the cities. We haven't been to like small towns, obviously, in the States. It's always like the bigger tourist attractions or whatever you end up going. But yeah, I feel like that's probably the major difference is the amount of people that congregate in one area.
Well, when you say that you like where you grew up was kind of a smaller area, kind of tell us how many people so Canada's a little different as far as schools go. They go like we call it 12th grade or whatever, right? For a senior year. You guys call it the opposite. It's like grade 12 or whatever. How big was your school? Because like my class in my high school in a town of about 10,000 was about 200. How many were in your graduating class? 7. Wow.
So I was in the school that I was in was grade primary to grade 12. And there was 234 students, I believe, the year I graduated.
So grade primary, when you say that, that's talking about like kindergarten up, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I don't know if kindergarten is what you have over there, but that's before first grade. So it's like they have preschool, which you can kind of go to, but then kindergarten and then it kind of works its way up from there. So everyone was in the same school, essentially.
Yep. One stop shop.
So what did you do? Because a lot of people, like I follow you on TikTok. That's where I found you. It's you changed the name. So it's AJ and the Doggos right now. But, right? Is that right? Okay. So
yeah, I think so.
You changed the name. You didn't change the picture. So I still can tell who you are. So we're okay. But one of the things that I noticed that was really cool about you that people don't see as much, it's usually videos about the dogs, but you have an awesome voice and you can play the guitar and you can play other instruments too. So where did you, because like I can't imagine like they had a big budget for music in a school that had, what'd you say, 200 total people basically. How did you do that? Was it like after school activities? Where'd you learn how to play instruments?
That's a loaded question, my friend. My whole family is very musical. So my dad plays guitar and he sings. My uncle plays the fiddle. My grandfather was also a fiddle player. So it was kind of always part of my life in that sense. I started playing guitar, I think I was 12 or 13 years old. And we actually did have an amazing music program in our school. So that's kind of where I started. This is going to sound ridiculous. So my music teacher, I was listening to music on I want to say like an iPod or or iPad, whatever they were called.
Right.
And in the hallway, and I was singing along to it. And she was like, you have to come and sing at the Christmas concert this year. That was it. And that's how it started.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So then I picked up the guitar, kind of taught myself. My dad taught me a little bit, but I taught myself. I still kind of teach myself, or I listen to a song and I can play it. I've lost it a little bit because I don't play as much as I used to. But that's kind of where all of that took off. And then my music teacher was a big part of that as well. Up until grade 12, I was in the music program and I played for concerts after school. I opened for, it's a band called Sous the Wall, which nobody's going to know because it's a big French band in Canada. And they're very big. And my band, if you can call it that, they opened for that group. So that was pretty cool.
You weren't a one-person band, right? You had an actual band.
I did. I had a bass player and I had an electric guitar and I had a piano. I'm trying to think. I don't remember if we had the drums or not. I don't think, but we had everything else.
So did you just sing or did you play the guitar? You play rhythm guitar and sing at the same time. What'd you do?
Yeah, rhythm guitar and sing at the same time. Yeah.
Okay.
I was the
Yeah.
star of the show.
Yeah. You're like James Hetfield from Metallica. Look at you.
Yeah,
Do you know who
no,
that is?
not
Do you know
quite.
who that is?
No.
I didn't think so.
No, but I'm sure I do not. I'm sure I'm not the same. It's all good.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
so I've been doing that pretty much off and on. I don't do concerts as much now, but I do go to my friends' houses and play music when they have kitchen parties and whatever. I actually have one on Saturday, which hasn't happened in a very long time. So
That's awesome. It's one of those things when I heard you sing for the first time, I was just like, you got to be kidding me. Like, and one of the things that we talked a lot about with that was being able to post it on TikTok, because there's so many people who just are like, TikTok it's a pretty cool community, but on the same token, there are so many people who are just hate. Like, they just bag on you. They make fun of you. And I think that it's crazy that one comment, because it does it to me too. It's not just, that situation that you had with you put up the one video and then people kind of go after you and you're like, this really hurts. It hurts because people are really attacking you and acting like they are doing some good in the world by destroying someone else for what they're doing. But, you post videos from time to time on music, and mostly it's about the dogs, but you have a great voice and it's just awesome to hear you do that. So I encourage you to do that more all the time. But I understand. I mean, it's tough when people do that. It's one of those things. We just live in this world where negativity just sells, and it just pisses me off. I mean, it's crazy.
yeah, it is what it is. But when it comes to that stuff, it's more, I'm my own worst critic, I think, because I refuse to post a video unless I think it's perfect. So it just takes me a while to be like, okay, I'm ready to post that. I think that's more why I don't post as much. I like it to be perfect. I want it to sound perfect. I want the pitch to be perfect. I want it to be perfect. I'm my own critic, and I'm admitting that. Right.
Yeah, and it's definitely
the comments and all that have been pretty good.
Yeah. And it's weird because like one negative comment, like we talked, like one negative comment, and then you got like 100 positive ones, and you're just like, oh, that one is the one that really bugged me, for me personally anyway. So you just got through, it's been, how long has the power been back on?
Not quite a week. It'll be a week tomorrow.
Not quite a week. So Hurricane Fiona hit Nova Scotia a week and a half ago, or almost 2 weeks now, right? Pretty close.
2 weeks Saturday.
Yeah. So let's talk about that a little bit, because you have a video that got a lot of views from trees waving.
Blowing in the wind. Yeah, I think Hurricane Ian from Florida might have helped with that more so than Hurricane Fiona in Lake Canada. But yeah, it was pretty crazy. It was a terrifying experience. It hit Category 2, which is the highest recorded hurricane Canada's ever seen. Mm-hmm. The only thing is recorded, because there might have been, hurricanes in the past that weren't necessarily recorded at that height. But yeah, it was interesting.
So I've never had to, Idaho's kind of landlocked where I'm at, and we're more western than where you're at. What do you do to prepare? Like, you heard the hurricane's coming. What did you do to prepare for that? What was some of the things that you do to get your house hurricane ready and those types of things?
Well, knowing now, I wish I would have known then. I think I would have braced my windows more so than I did. Thankfully, we didn't get damage, but I feel like that could have been something we could have prevented had that happened. So next time we'll be ready. First thing I did was I bought a generator. Mm-hmm. We weren't going to buy one, but I'm really glad we did, because as you know, we didn't have power for 7 days. So at least we could run the fridge and the microwave and just lights and stuff. So at least we had that, and we're able to charge devices. But yeah, that's about it. Got a lot of food. Got some storm chips, storm wine.
That's
ready in that sense.
Yeah, I feel like I would have
important.
I feel like I would have storm bourbon. But yeah, so I mean, we talked a little bit of
So, just prepare in that sense. I got drinking water.
Yep. And it was a great thing that you got the generator, because you were able to run things like you talked about. But I mean, you can only imagine, because the power was out for quite a while. without having that generator running out of clothes, running out of hot water. It's kind of funny. Talk about some of the things that you appreciate a little bit more when you don't have power versus when you do.
Clean, comfortable underwear, number one. My gosh, that was tough. Yeah. I really, really missed, I know this is going to sound weird, but like hot showers. Cold showers are very efficient. You're in, you're out, you're done. But hot showers, that was something I missed. I have a new lease on life now. I'm going to enjoy all my hot showers going forward. You kind of learn to live without the power, right? So the hardest part, I thought, honestly, in all of that was losing cell service. Mm-hmm. So Fiona had affected some of our cell towers in the area, and not being able to contact my parents, being able to touch base, like even my husband, he was gone to work. So like things like that was tougher, I found, than losing the actual power. Just that connectivity, we kind of realized how, fickle, or I guess like weak, our communication system actually is. So that was kind of scary. Also, like I had TikTok withdrawals for like 5 days. Yeah, we made it. But yeah, I had extra underwear, so now I'm good.
It was funny. One of our friends, Brenda, said something about that, and she was like, my mom always told me to make sure that I have, and my dad said this too. It's like, have underwear without holes in them, have a clean underwear, have whatever, because you never know when you're going to have to go to the hospital, and you don't want people seeing things that they shouldn't be seeing. You don't want to go in there looking like a dirty, scuzzy person because you have dirty underwear or whatever. So it does make sense.
Yep. Very important. Very important. No, it's something you realize after that. And I did panic laundry the day before because I figured, well, lose power. I just never realized it'd be for 7 days.
Yeah. And it was crazy. I remember talking about that and how it kind of affected you, because it's like, oh, it's going to be back on today. And then it wasn't. And then it's going to be back on today. And then it wasn't. And then the last time they told you it was going to be hopefully back on, it actually came on earlier, which is great because it was sooner than what you were expecting. So it kind of tricked you a little, right?
Yeah, keep us on our toes, I think. They like to keep us on our toes. So it's all good. I know some people still don't have power. So they're still working on that quite a bit.
Well, you got lucky because there was a lot of damage, and your home survived with the exception of some trees that fell down, right? Which, amazingly enough, you had, I kind of wonder, because you had some trees taken down a couple months ago that if they were there, very well could have been worse, right?
Yeah, so if we hadn't cut down, so they're all silver oaks. Silver oaks, silver oaks don't root deep, but they grow really, really tall. So these trees were well beyond our 2-story home. We cut one down, like a really big one, and a bunch of little ones. But if we didn't cut that one down, it would have fell on our house. So we were, lucky in that sense. And the other trees just fell beautifully. It looks like they were just placed where they're at, and they missed my barn by about 2 feet. So I'll take it.
Yep. No siding taken off, no windows broken, nothing other than these trees fall down. So you were pretty lucky. So your parents, they live a little bit.
Oh gosh, yeah, I know. One of my friends actually, one of my coworkers, she lost her vehicle. One of the branches from her tree went through one window and out the other.
Oh, geez.
So, we were pretty lucky.
Yeah, and your parents live a bit away from you, and they sustained a little bit more damage than you did, right? Because they're more like on the coast, like closer to the coastline.
Yeah, they're right on the water, so they actually didn't get that much damage, considering technically the eye of the storm hit there. They lost siding on their house and on their garage, I think. But other than that, they didn't get any other damage, and they got their power back 2 days later. So
yeah, that's pretty crazy that it was back on before yours, because you would think that, I don't know, closer to the coastline, it would be a little bit different.
Well, plus you would think I'm in a city, whereas they're in the middle of nowhere.
Right. Yep. Well, tell us a little bit about your TikTok, why you got on TikTok, why you're doing that. What's you got a couple pups that you kind of showcased there. What kind of got you into TikTok?
This is going to sound ridiculous. I started TikTok. I feel like it was back in like end of March, maybe beginning of April this year. And it's because I didn't like on Facebook, there's those reels. So like I would get lost in those reels, and then one of my friends was like, that's from TikTok. So that's kind of how that started. And then I kind of just dallied into posting pictures of the dogs, and here we are.
And you kind of call that like dog talk, right? Because like there's all these niches on there, and you said that a lot of your followers are from the dog community, like they follow dogs and post about those things and things like that, right?
Yep. A lot of my followers and a lot of like the people I follow are dog people. And I find thankfully, compared to other niches anyway, very positive group of people, I gotta say. The ones that I've been dealing with anyway.
Yeah, well, that's kind of one of those things, though, that like, I mean, you give what you get, right? We talked a little bit about how like negativity sells and things like that. But I feel like once I found that groove of those people who are looking for the same thing, like it kind of weeded the majority of those negative people out. You do get them kind of in live still and things like that. Every once in a while, they'll hop in there and they'll try to spar the live. But you just get good moderators like Ninja Skill AJ, and you take care of that pretty easily, right?
Yeah. It's true. Yeah. You got to find your good people. Once you find good people, then you're in a good spot.
Yeah. I'm going to put you on the spot here, and you don't have to, don't use me, but who is one of your favorite creators that you follow on TikTok?
Oh my God. That's a hard question.
There's so many.
There are so many, and it's so many different like types of accounts that I follow. So like I follow complete nonsense, and then I follow dog ones, and then I follow, people who talk about success, and that's kind of how, we met, all that stuff. I don't know if I could pinpoint just one, because I just find the content is so different and positive that I just love it all. Like I can't just pinpoint one person. I don't think. Myself. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, it's me. All right. We're all right. You can just say me. It's okay. I got you.
All right. It's you. I'm sorry. I'm going to put you on the spot.
Good deal. Perfect. Now we know who the best is. Well, if people want to follow you, where can they catch you at? Where's the best place to find AJ? Is it TikTok? Is that the best place?
Yeah, probably. TikTok is definitely where I spend most of my time. Which is a lot of time. Well, I should say fortunately, I really have everyone to put it. But yeah, TikTok, I got some fun stuff on there some days. Some days it's ridiculous. And I know that I focus more on dog stuff, but I'm kind of all over the place. So I don't know if you want to follow me, but you can if you want to.
For sure. It's a good laugh. When it's not the dog stuff too, it's a good laugh. I enjoy your voiceovers, which I am not someone who does the voiceovers very well whatsoever. I don't even try. I just get on there and just blab and people listen. So I'll keep doing it.
That's right. You got to go with what works for you, right?
Exactly. Well, AJ, I appreciate you jumping on here and, in a moment's notice, because I didn't have a guest this week and I was like, hey, anyone want to jump on? And you're like, I'll do it. I got you when you had just enough caffeine in you to get you going. So there we go.
I don't know if I was, I don't think I was that enthusiastic, but you can try to play that.
You were. You're like, yes, I got it. Well, I appreciate it. Thanks for doing it. And then I'm sure we'll talk soon again.
Probably. Have a good night.
You too. All right, everyone. Well, that is the end of the show. We got a little update on it. Hurricane Fiona from a friend, AJ. Go follow her on TikTok, AJ88 and the Fur Babies. I'll put it in the show notes. So you can check it out. Really good, positive person. A little bit about Canada. Nova Scotia is a pretty cool place. She sent me a package and I've got some awesome stuff from there as well. Hope that until next time, I challenge you to find the shape of your success.